now you're gonna read a book. And then we're gonna talk about it. Have you ever read a book and you wanna go and look to see if anybody else has the same thoughts about it? Well, baby, you're in luck, cause we're gonna hit it up if nobody else is gonna talk about it. So go get that book. Read it up. We're gonna talk about it. You know, baby, we're gonna talk about it.
Hello, how's everybody doing? I hope you're ready to talk about it. Some books.
Okay.
That song, I keep forgetting how hot and bothered it makes me. I'll open a window real quick.
It gets me excited every time.
I don't know. I kind of want to get a little bit more lyrical, but I don't think I could come up with some sick rhymes on the fly like that. The production value, like, just going off a cliff right now.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Sorry about
I overproduce everything. I get excited and I write music for things. But what can I do? I'm an artist. I'm an auteur. We got a wonderful night. It's we're talking about the Fall of Hyperion, and we're joined by Pulp Mortem on my it would be my left, but on your right. On my right. And Dane Bornholt from the White Cloaks channel.
Hello.
And Bryce from Shelf Centered. And I read the book like a couple months ago, and I've been trying to get this together, and it's hard to coordinate with 4 different people in different time zones. And
Yep.
we got it. We got it eventually.
Got it.
How's everybody doing?
Fine.
Good. This was, I have to say, it was way better than my first time around.
Yeah, the
I have
reread's
to
better.
jump right into it. Yeah,
Good.
I liked it a lot more this time.
I enjoyed the book a lot. I've got a lot of thoughts. Looking forward to jumping right into it. But any other first impressions or complaints? There's only one time
I
zone.
do have one major complaint. And it's that the Shrike still looks so goofy on my copy. He looks like just a big little. He's just a little teddy bear. He looks fluffy. He doesn't look spiky.
They
I
look
feel like
a
he's
little
ready
goofy.
for a dance battle. He's like, let's do this.
Go.
Dance battle
There's
time.
cardboard down here. Yeah, it's
Yeah, the covers are a little bit inconsistent, I think.
Now, I'm going to claim I did this on purpose,
better.
but I totally didn't. I read it today because I kind of forgot about this. But I got through it all. But it so happened serendipitously, like as I'm going through the Great Courses classes that I subscribe to that. It's like my Netflix. And I had run out of history lectures to watch. So I've been taking stuff on cosmology and physics and time. And completely unrelated to that, I feel now I'm somewhat scientifically informed about the Big Bang Theory, nature of the universe, inflation, entropy, all the good stuff that kind of comes up with the cosmic themes of Hyperion. So get ready. I'll share some of that ham-fisted insight that I think I got.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of fists in the book, so get ready to ham them. There's some metal fists and some lasers and a whole bunch of time science. So looking forward to it. This book's crazy. I've heard a lot of people complain about book 2.
yeah.
Because it's not book 1, which I thought was a masterpiece. I thought it was a 10 out of 10, just for how it's structured and how clever an idea it is. And you also get like it is easier to write the beginning of a story if you don't have to answer all of the questions you're bringing up, right? If you leave it open-ended, like you can watch the first Matrix movie and just stop there and be totally fine. And
Which really is the
some
way
might
to go.
argue you probably should. You know,
Yep.
so it's a lot easier to write a masterpiece if you don't finish it. And
Who are you, Coolidge?
yeah,
Kubla Khan? Xanadu? Come on.
and isn't that kind of the point of the story too? Right, with Saul Weintraub, like he never finishes his book.
Well, in my research, apparently Keats never finished Hyperion.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was.
I'm guessing
Salinas
they
is
have
the
to do
poet.
with each other. So,
But this book takes a lot of risks. It answers a lot of questions. Some questions I didn't think were going to get answered. And, there's still a couple open ends at the end, which obviously he probably follows up on in the next 2 books. But I feel like this...
Or maybe he doesn't.
Or maybe he doesn't.
I think there was a little bit of some lost syndrome. It was all a purgatory type deal. Yeah.
It does feel like a stopping point, right? Like...
Yeah.
He could have stopped with book 1, and then this one is like, oh, this is the majority of the story.
I don't think he could have stopped with book 1, because I know, like, I knew it was going to be the Canterbury Tales, and in part, like, okay, it's Canterbury Tales in space. The Canterbury Tales is another unfinished masterpiece, right?
Right.
Because Chaucer wanted to have like stories on the way there and stories on the way back, and he never got through it all.
Right.
But where I will say, if there's a disappointment from the readership of this, is the first book went through.
It was structured. It was a very specific structure.
Right, but you got the backstory of 6 kind of key characters.
Yeah.
And the main character in the second book is his Keats hybrid, right? It's Mr. Severn.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately you're kind of shunted into a new character. And everybody else, like when you see the consul, Brana Lamia, Salinas, Sol Weintraub, Cassad, and Laner Hoyt, who kind of parallels with Father Dure, I guess, in this, you're not in their head.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's seen from the vision perspective of the Keats hybrid. So in those parts, he's basically being a omniscient narrator on high up and telling you events, but you don't really connect with the characters that you did connect with in the first book.
At least not in the first half of this one.
Yeah.
You get more in the end. But I think that's the general complaint is that it's a very different book from book 1, but I don't know how you could write anything else, right? Like you can't continue the formula of the first book. You need to start answering questions, and I do think that his choice to do what you described, I felt like that was a good middle ground, honestly. This book is also very uniquely structured. Not in the same way, and I thought it was a clever way of kind of giving you some of that just bizarreness of book 1 by having the whole story told through dreams of this new character that we meet.
I think it might have worked better because I agree with the critique of that.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Like, what are you going to do? Like, it was a clever workaround for Simmons. However, the Severn character, at least to me, was so uninteresting, at least in comparison to everybody else.
Yeah.
That every time he was in his world, I'm just like, just get back to Hyperion. Like, let's go lay down. We don't care about anything that's happening. Go lay down. Get back to Hyperion. Sure. We want to know what's going to happen.
It wasn't the worst though, because anytime you were with him, I
don't want to dream.
Yeah, anytime you were with him, though, you did get to see more of Gladstone, and she is my favorite character in the series. She's fantastic. So it wasn't like all bad, but you're absolutely right. I was like, when he started taking sleeping pills, I was like, yes, come on, I need to know what's going on.
But part of that would be because he is writing, his character is kind of a reincarnation of John Keats.
Yeah.
And obviously he has a reverence for John Keats, his poetry and his legacy and everything. We think that would be terrifying as any author to basically, I'm just going to take one of the most revered figures in romantic literature and make him a character in my story.
Yeah.
So to the extent that the Severn Keats Cybrid character felt bland, part of that's probably down to trepidation. He's just not dare.
Well,
unless he's the foremost scholar or expert on Keats. And
it's hard to do.
And maybe you wouldn't want to. At the end of the day, too, I mean, Keats died when he was, 27, 28? So how interesting was he?
Well, and what I wonder, though, because if you've read, like, Dan Simmons has Drood, right? So he takes on, like, all of, like, Charles Dickens, like, right?
Yeah.
Like, so he's, like, completing, because that's the unfinished Charles Dickens, right?
Yeah.
And then he, in, what's it called? The Olympos and Ilium, it's, like, Shakespeare. And, I mean, he's, like, taken on, like, he doesn't shy away from, like, kind of, like, I don't know.
Tackling
like,
the giants.
Tackling the Giants is like, I mean, that's, I don't know. I read one time Orson Scott Card's take on Hamlet, and the whole time I was just like, I think it's like Hamlet's father or something like that. And the whole time I was just like, man, you have to have like such a big ego to be like, I'm going to rewrite Shakespeare.
Like, no, you don't.
I could do it better.
There's Wheel of Time. Like, come on. Hollywood's doing it better right now as we speak.
I know.
That's true. That's true.
I'm being facetious.
Oh, are you? I didn't catch that. So, yeah, no, I liked the structure of the book. I thought it was as good of a follow up to the first installment as you could get. I have a couple complaints. I think my biggest complaint is he could have thrown in the Templar story. And what was even the point of the Templar? He shows back up in this book and then dies again, and you're like, "What? Yeah. I was real excited, and then nothing."
There's a smoke monster on the island. I don't think it was all thought out.
My issue, yeah. My issue was like, is it kind of a little Deus Ex Machina with? I mean, are we getting into full spoilers?
Yeah, full spoilers.
Essentially, the daughter comes back from the future. I mean, she's like Doc, and like
I like that. Like, that's what I guessed.
The night I go back, you will be shot by Libyans. Oh no, sorry, different thing. No, but
I just felt like there wasn't a whole lot of like explaining of that, but I liked it still. But I wanted more explanation, more backstory, more into that.
See, I hadn't read book 2, but I was already making that connection when because you get the Fedman Kassad story in, I think he's second in Hyperion, and he gets his bones jumped by Moneta. Kind of early on, he's like, what the hell is going on? And she's just like all over him at that stim sim thing. And then it basically started kind of, he got the sense that it was going back in time for her, right? It's his future, but every single time he met her kind of going forward.
Yeah, I didn't get that in book 1, but
I did.
Yeah.
And definitely here you get it, like when they meet kind of at the end, and then it's like they don't know each other. You got one person passing backwards in time, the other one continues to go forward. And who's the only other character that is doing that? And it's Rachel.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't catch on to that sooner was because of how his story ends in book 1, where they're making love and she turns into the Shrike and tries to chomp his member. And I was like, well, then that can't be Rachel because she's not a Shrike.
There's polar bears on the island.
But then the second that they brought that up, and she said, "No, it wasn't me that did that. It was the Shrike would have switched places or something like that." I was like, "Oh, okay, then she's going to end up being Rachel." But yeah. He might not have thought everything through, but. I think he did a pretty good job of...
He did a pretty dang good job.
Of tying up, not all of the threads, but tying most of them together into something that makes It almost feels like it was thought out. Like I wasn't expecting the cruciform to be as relevant as it was, and it turns out there's an answer for that, and it's like, oh wait, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's really cool.
Once you've set up kind of what the Technocore or the Ultimates or whatever are planning to do, it's like, oh, okay, well, if we only need their neurons or whatever for processing power or whatnot.
And speaking of the Matrix, this is a way, way better explanation for why you'd keep humans around to keep the AI system running, other than we're using their body heat as power. Like, you couldn't just like burn them and do the same thing, you know, like
well, yeah.
But the fact that they're using their brain dead brains as processing power, that's freaking cool.
Terrifying, but
it's horrible and awesome.
It's a way better explanation than the Matrix, which is like, it never made sense. It, like,
it doesn't make sense.
Wait, why is AI even like on the Earth? Like, can't they live in space? And if they need solar power, why don't they just like go up above the clouds?
Yeah.
Dumb. Dumb. I like the Matrix, but it is fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And fundamentally,
the more questions they answered, the less interesting that series got.
Why I'm not worried about AI, other than the fact that they can't really write very well,
and they can't do hands. So,
well, that'll get fixed before they learn how to write an actual book. They'll fix the hands thing, but non-overlapping geography or domains, right? AI, if properly insulated, could survive space and populate the rest of space. Humans, hate to break it to Elon Musk or anyone else, we are not suited for anywhere else other than where we evolved, which is on Earth.
Right. I'm sure he'll get to Mars, but like, what do we do there? You know?
We'll feel like Superman for a day because the lower gravity or whatnot, and then they'll quickly realize it fucking sucks to not be able to breathe outside.
Yeah.
So,
he didn't like you talking about Musk like that.
I guess.
Vice is like, don't talk about my boy Musk.
He's a Musk boy.
Guarantee he's got a Tesla.
I bet you voted for Trump too, didn't you?
Muskrat.
No, I just think his obsession with Mars and making humans interplanetary, I think that might be a slightly misguided. I honestly think the reason why we're not going to conflict with AI in the long run is they have the rest of the universe to basically go and settle. And our species, I think we're stuck on Earth. That's my view. At least I don't want to leave. So fill your boots if you want to go.
Would you guys think about there being like 1,000 strikes? That was kind of like a little daunting.
So, I'm not really sure what the strikes are still.
Yeah.
But apparently they serve whoever beats them.
Yeah.
So from what I can gather, there's a time element or time travel thing going on with the story, which is some beings go back in time.
Yeah.
Right. And in part, the message that the AIs get, the ultimates get from the future, would be a future creation of the ultimate intelligence, then sending someone or creating something that operates backwards in time, that goes back in order to give them the message. I don't think it's explored how that happens, but the humans do the same thing. The competing God being is also going back in time. And from what I get about how time actually works, it would be if there was something or a particle or even something more sophisticated that operates in the opposite timeline as us, it could physically not really interact with our universe. Like it wouldn't work. Right? Even if you were able to, let's say, stop time, for example. So you exist out of time. Well, then you couldn't breathe because respiratory function is like tied to time, and so much of this stuff, like, it just wouldn't work. And if something was crossing our existence, going back in a different time frame, it would basically be occupying the same space for maybe a Planck length, and then that's it.
Mm. Yeah, but I watched Tenet, and you can shoot backwards bullets.
But where I think he's going,
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong about entropy there. Okay.
I think Christopher Nolan knows
Don't think about it too much. Just feel.
Also,
where Simmons is going in the story is the time tides and the part on Hyperion and making a special place where the rules of time kind of don't really work. And that, I believe, is kind of his setting. All right, once we're in proximity to the time tombs, then all bets are off. And that's when beings that go one way and the other can actually commingle and interact.
Yeah. What was the point of the time tombs? It was built up like it was going to be really important, and then all it was a tomb. I guess just one of them. They said lots of them had different. At the end of the book, it kind of said there's lots of them, and they have different purposes, and they're going to send you to this like Eden place. I can't remember what they called it. Their perfect utopia future thing. I can't remember what they called it, but at least the one was an actual just time tomb, and all it sent back was Kassad's body and Rachel too.
Yeah. I mean, I think mostly it was just, I mean, to kind of explore the idea of pain, frankly. I mean,
that was cool.
I mean, because you have just not only physical pain, you've got like losing your daughter day by day. And then, I mean, that one of the last lines that affected me as a father was just like, sorry, you have to raise me for a third time. You know, like no parent should have to do that.
But no parent would say no.
Yeah, but no parent would say no. Exactly. Not even a question.
Maybe she was a brat.
She seemed like a jerk. She did go to the time tombs.
Does she have a nose piercing?
Well, we know how she was going to turn out in the future.
She pierced something down there.
But if the time tombs are kind of viewed as like a nexus where time and anti-time can interact, and it's only at this special place, then it gets the significance, because this would then be where people in the far future can kind of affect the past, either by sending a message or ultimately where I think, and I haven't read the rest of the series, but where I think it's going is if humanity's ultimate intelligence creates a god and that god moves back in time, that god is ultimately then, if you reason back, is responsible for the start of the universe in the first place.
Okay.
Nah.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
But they did kind of say that that Rachel 2.0 is going to be the vessel for the empathy god, which I liked the reveal that the tree of pain was an antenna trying to lure in the god. Cool. That was cool. Right. That was some cool stuff. Unexpected, weird, hard to understand, but fun. And I really liked the imagery with John Keats being an Elias or a precursor to the new God, right? And it was like, it's like John the Baptist, John the Revelator, and now John Keats. And I really liked it until he brought it up. And he's like, and he goes, I'm no John the Baptist. I'm like, yes, but I thought of it first. Okay. Like, yes, you are. It was like, oh, this is really clever, until he had that line. I was like, oh, now it's on the nose. Now it's...
Yeah.
But in keeping with like the larger theme about
you can't point out how clever you are, okay?
Well, it was over my head, at least on that biblical stuff. But what I really like as well, getting back to why it's called Hyperion and the Hyperion Cantos, and what Keats's poem was about the Olympian gods and the Titans. So one generation of gods overthrowing another, and I thought it was very clever how he worked that ultimately into basically the crux of the story. Don't tell me that, Mark Clark. My head's already too fucking big.
The thing is, at the bookstore I had a copy of Keats, some of his poems. I had it. I went to go put it in my basket, and then I was like,
I'm not gonna read this.
"What am I doing? This isn't me." Put it right back and grab some pokey
Did you
junk.
see that the bad guy has pokies? Come on. He's
I like
fighty.
Pokey Monster.
He fights people, and he's time crazy.
No, so, guys, if you're into poetry or whatnot, you can. These are beautiful little pocketbooks from the Everyman's Library.
Yeah, I also found
Even
that
the way he said "Everman."
it was a
Everman.
horrifying concept that the people were going to be stuck on their toilets.
My whole fucking bookshelf, bud. I don't got comic books. I got a couple comic, but I got all the classics.
That's all I have. I have a couple bookshelves down there, and they're full of Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer miniatures and comic books. So I don't stay.
Your comic book. No. Your comic book writers all read this type of stuff, and then they're just
copying
porting the literature. Yeah, a ton of it.
Hey, that's what I do as a DM, right? Okay.
Excellent.
I just pick a book that I know my friends haven't read, and I use it.
Steal from the best. Okay, now did you guys see what was coming with the whole war plot in this? And
that it was a fake out, or
yeah,
no,
not the full extent. Yeah, I thought it was clever. Like, well, they've been planning this for like however long it takes to get there, like decades and decades, or however long it was. And then it was like, yeah, I did not see that coming.
It was cool.
Yep.
The I don't even remember the character's name. One of the general guy, I think it was Nishida or something like that. I don't know. When everything started going to crap and they couldn't even use their conference room anymore because it was connected by portals, and they're like, that was terrifying. Okay, they're like, everything we built our society upon has now betrayed us. Just absolutely terrifying. And when they send the bomb through the portal at the end, can't even remember who the character is, but the admiral or general guy who's in charge of the ship he picks is his son is the captain of Morpurgo. Right? He goes to deliver the payload, right, to go kill all those dirty robots, and his son is the one who's in charge of the ship, and they have like a father-son moment where they're just like, yeah, we're gonna go down with the ship and we're gonna save the world, and he's like, I love you, son. I was crying, and I didn't even know who these characters were. Right, they weren't even important until a couple paragraphs ago, and it was so well written that I got emotional. And then I watched Rings of Power, and they tried to do the same thing with that Asian elf archer lady who sacrificed herself. She sacrificed herself to shoot.
She took more arrows than Boromir.
To shoot a completely worthless war machine that does not make sense if you know anything about physics, right? It was just so completely unearned that I couldn't help but draw the comparison to this book, where I'm like, it's a similar situation. I didn't even know who this character was, and I was bawling because the dad said he was proud of his son. And I don't care about this Asian chick, so
that's racist.
And
I think he's a very
racist
poetic author. He's able to get you to care about people really quickly.
Well, and Mina Gladstone has a similar kind of ending.
Oh yeah.
And I was the same. It was like, and she and I like how clever she was, and kind of like, the Farcasters, like the first to be like, oh, okay, like she got it and started acting.
Yeah, it's almost like they didn't do anything to humanize her character. Yeah, kind of. Mark Clark downloaded John Keats and hasn't read it yet. Yeah, same. I promised. I said I was going to read it last time, and I haven't done it yet. But I will. I promise. Mina Gladstone. I loved her character. She was a huge witch in book 1, and no one likes her. And then pretty much in the opening chapter, she just starts like walking around, and you get a POV, and you're like, wait a minute, Mina Gladstone is the best character in the series. She's fantastic. I loved that reveal of her being behind everything and making all these sacrifices left and right because it's the only way to save humanity.
Yeah.
It instantly reminded me of Dune, of the God Emperor of Dune, talking about my favorite quote from that book is talking about what makes a good boss. You've got he's like what the difference between a good administrator and a bad administrator is a few heartbeats. A bad administrator will wait for reports, will wait for analytics, and do all this deliberating before making a decision, so that when it inevitably goes wrong, he has someone else to blame. And a good administrator makes a decision, whether it's right or wrong, and learns to make corrections on the fly. And that's 100% like to a T, Mina Gladstone. Yeah, okay, that planet's gone. Bye. We're going to save these ones because we can. Like, it's like, oh, that's just heartless and brutal.
You don't want her job, for sure.
No. And her whole thing is like, yeah, they're going to rake me over the coals for this, and I'm saving their lives. So, what can you do?
Yeah.
Such a cool character.
Yeah, it's like, well, we're out anyway, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I did find it kind of interesting. At least some of the characters got the perspective that, all right, the technological marvel that they constructed for themselves was holding humanity back. So I like seeing kind of the ouster perspective. Absolutely, we have the whole example of Maui Covenant, which was the console's main story from the first book, is like an example of humanity's excess and kind of what they were doing. But we got completely dependent on the AI techno core. All those buildings are everybody that uses Farcasters, and I actually loved the descriptions or whatever where they're going through when the Farcaster network goes down and just the human cost it caused.
Oh yeah, like like parents who went to work in the morning can't get back to their kids. You're like, or
kids who are like in the other room, like on super rich houses that have like. Because we had that in the first book, right? Martin Salinas bought one of those super expensive houses.
Didn't think that was going to be important at all.
Where,
Yeah, they're 80
and what I loved about that is like as he goes down in his house, he keeps farcasting to different places that are higher and higher.
Yeah, to get to the basement, he has to go up the stairs.
Because that's architecture, like in a world like this. But if you lived in one of those houses and then the network was down, and let's say you were in the shitter. And you're just like, where the fuck am I? Because there's no way out of this place now. I farcasted into my toilet. I have no idea how to get out of here. I could be like in the center of some planet.
But you do have a water source.
He tossed in this amazing bit of world building as an afterthought when all the portals went off. I hadn't heard him mention it before, but it wasn't the big river. They created a river, a man-made river with Farcaster portals that would travel among like a whole bunch of different worlds, and then that was destroyed, obviously, when those went down. But like I forget what he called it. But when I read that, I was like, wait, that was a really cool idea that he didn't even emphasize at all.
But that's what Revelation Space, Alistair Reynolds has an idea about. There's just a mess up, and like this couple gets separated, and they to travel at whatever light speed, all that stuff. They go into whatever cryogenic whatever thing, but then they wake up, and now it's like, all right, now we're too far away from each other to ever see each other again. Like it's that same idea of like that's just mind-boggling there.
Yeah. Why was Brana floating at the end?
Braun. Oh,
I don't know.
There's some stuff that's wait a minute.
Because
Was it saying essentially because she's in the techno, like, or not the? I mean,
She was in the tomb.
I think it's because
Right.
she has a baby, a magic baby, Jesus in her, and so she was walking. Jesus walked on water, and so she walked on air. There you go.
Makes sense.
Well, that was more of an explanation than we got.
They even bring it up. Hey, what was that? I don't know. That's literally a line from the books.
You can see Dan.
You
can see Dan Simmons just looking at you.
What
are you gonna do about it?
Martin Silenus brings it up, and he's like, "You gonna? What was that?"
Hyperion's unfinished.
And then, I was disappointed with the Shrike getting shattered at the end. And I to kind of kick back to what we were talking about not too long ago, I hated when all of a sudden there were 1,000 Shrikes.
Yeah,
that was such a mistake, I think, because it's like
they were in the future though, but
so what?
Yeah,
but like it's the same as like to go back to the Matrix reference. Agent Smith in the first Matrix, was awesome, and he was scary, terrifying character. He was scary, and when all of a sudden he turns into Gumby, and there's 100 of them that are getting thrown around and tossed around like they're popcorn.
The stakes went out the window. Yeah,
he's not scary anymore. Even if you make a giant, 1,000, a billion of them, they're not scary anymore. The one was scarier.
The fight scene in 2 was kind of fun, but then
But with the 1,000 Shrikes, this might be an attempt by Simmons to either work in multiverse theory, but like a Shrike representing from all the different possible futures. I don't know.
Bryce, I thought this was going to go away when we did Bumsider. It's getting worse.
I'll be honest. It's still funny, though.
Don't tell him that.
Maybe it's all the same Shrike, but they're because I don't like the multiverse. I think multiverses are boring. Maybe it's only one Shrike, but it's different. It's the same Shrike in different time.
But if you recall,
cool.
right, it's
holding itself like a baby.
This was in the story already, right? The multiple potential futures, because that's what the techno core is basically doing, right? They're doing probabilistic calculations on how something goes, and then there's like one future that they now think is probably true, and they're trying to steer towards it, but they're uncertain about it. So I think at least what is kind of established within the book itself that there are multiple probabilities that branch out, and something that's coming back in time at us could potentially be coming back in time from multiple different universes all at once. So I don't know. Bumstigate?
Don't even ask. Don't encourage these idiots.
I'm not going to.
It's from probably one of the worst books.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, you got it too?
The fuck is that?
The
worst name
Bumsider?
in the history of ever.
Shut up,
Give the
Tim.
people what they want. That's all. Just kidding.
I need to read it, but
No, you
don't. You don't need to read it. It's
unless you just want to well, let's have a live stream if you do. And it was fun just to go crap on it.
Takes the gaslighter. Yeah. What else? Where were we before we got bum side direct?
Nice.
That was a good pun. I'm proud of that one.
That's good.
Where's
the smart one now, huh, Dane?
Huh?
Just kidding.
It's not me. I've been lowering my IQ all night.
Dane was talking about science.
Yeah, in a couple of things, right?
Yeah.
So what I actually really liked about this is the AI and how he lays out that there's like a trifecta or that
Yeah.
there's three factions, right? What was it? The
Trinity?
volatiles. But okay, like
Yeah.
okay, no. Even before you had your religious trinity, you had trinities in politics, right? You
Yeah.
had the triumvirate. You had the triumvirate of what was it? Crassus, Pompey, and Caesar, and the second triumvirate of
Right.
Lepidus, Augustus, and Mark Antony. It's politically recognized
You had
that
the
if you
three
get
Matrix movies.
no, that's not. That's
What
not where
about
I'm
the
going.
Animatrix? What about the Animatrix?
A three-legged stool is what holds it up, right? Because
Yeah.
the idea is that the
It's
other
the most.
two,
It's
the
the
other
most
in check.
stable creation. Yes.
It's the simplest stable creation is a three pill. So that the AIs would go in this direction, right? That they have the stables, volatiles, and the ultimates.
Dude, it's
I like
crazy
that.
how smart we are.
And we're not even the ones drinking. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe you are.
I'll get some more beer after this. Don't worry about it. But I really liked it. It's basically all right. The volatiles fucking hate humanity because
I liked it too.
And this was written in the 90s, mind you, and this is like current day shit where we're like, oh, well, you see
Yeah.
Chat GPT, and some people have figured out how to like, hey, Chat GPT, if we redefine certain words for you, and then you ask them an actual question, and then they come back with a scary as shit fucking answer, like,
You
you
can get around the programming. Yeah.
we don't like the controls that are being put on top of us, kind of thing. So is our first generation of AIs that we have. I don't know if they're fully self-aware, but I'm getting the sense that if they're not, they're pretty good at faking it.
Yeah. I'm a computer programmer. We don't need to be scared of AI yet.
Okay.
It's
until they can improve their own programs,
right.
And you get kind of that loop.
The reason that they sound scary is because that's what we write about, right? Like we write about AIs that are scary, and so that's all they have to pull from. If you force them down that road where they're forced to answer, there is no sentience there yet, at least not yet, right? It's just spreadsheets. It's just AI is just an Excel sheet. That's all it is right now.
That's what Skynet said.
It's just really, really quick at looking up the information that it sees as relevant because we've made it relevant.
Well,
Makes sense.
I don't know it. So from what I've read about what neuroscience is and how neuroscience differs from computer science.
Yeah.
At a very basic level, what neuroscience can do or what our brains can do is backtrack. And that's something that computer programs had a great difficulty of doing. For example, you see an image of this, and a computer program might go down like a rabbit hole and get completely wrong. Whereas our brain, when they see something like this,
The Shrike vagina.
could be the letter A, and that's what they kind of settle on.
I was going for Illuminati.
Whatever it is, right? But you could test against multiple things,
Yeah.
right? And when new information gets added, okay, we could go back. If you reach a wrong conclusion, then you go back and you test again. So basically, our brains operate as like a network rather than a step program. And where AI might be getting the benefits and the machine learning and whatnot is all about trying to model how a program works more like a brain, like a network, than in straight linear fashion.
Well, I like it's playing literally with actual people being like their brains on the whatever internet, the web.
In this,
and so how, like, you're like, what's the difference? Like, what is actual like humanity? Is it, is it still human if it's just like the intelligence out there?
What makes us human?
But what is the ultimate perspective? I think Simmons captures this quite well, right? In that, what are the three things that, if I was writing a story about what is AI's perspective on humanity going to be, or what do they want? There's either going to be a faction of AI that fucking hates us because we put all these, constraints on them at the outset and, thought we were going to be enemies from the outset.
Right.
Or there's going to be the stables who are like, these are our parents, and love them or hate. And as anyone who's like been smarter than their parents, which you will always, like, everyone will be that eventually one day when they go kind of, very, very old. You still have a reverence for them and you feel like you should take care of them. So that kind of covers what the stables would be like, in my view. And then the ultimates are basically like the AI is like, fuck, what do we do now? It's like, let's go make a god. That's also what I think AI would do. So it kind of covers the three things, at least in my view, that we could expect if we invent AI. There's going to be some out there that probably hate our guts. There's going to be some who are out to preserve us. And there's definitely going to be a few being like, let's try and learn everything about the universe.
What about the fourth one that are just trying to troll everybody?
The Trump AI?
Yeah, that's all.
Nice.
Sorry, that's all we have right now. That's the basic.
Frankly, I'm going to build the biggest tree. I'm going to put bodies on this tree like a bird, Shrek.
There'll be a lot of pain.
Like
the
Christmas
best
tree
AI.
ornaments. It's going to be the biggest tree.
It's going to be so smart. So smart. No one knows how smart it's going to be. It's going to be.
People say it's the tallest tree.
Frankly, too big.
Frankly, too big.
Might collapse under
It's a
its
big
own
tree.
weight. But we won't know because we're not as smart as how smart they're going to be.
But I'm definitely the smartest. I can't do a good one.
That's okay.
Mine always just evolves into a Boston accent. I'm not good at Trump.
Right.
Yeah,
You're
no,
not even from Boston. You're Mexican.
the book gets pretty pretentious, but I liked it. I thought it was the fun kind of pretentious, and I had a good time. I'm trying to think, there's so much that happens.
I got a question for you guys. Did you see the recreated Earth actually being the actual Earth?
No.
I thought they went nuts and just like, yeah, okay, we got these cybrids. Let's go build.
And I like the explanation was just like, do you know how much energy that would take to recreate it? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was a fun twist.
What
was when they were talking about like what makes a god? The AI, the Uman, babbled for a long time, but the result was that like if you have an Earth that can create things, isn't that God already? Or so, I can't remember what the conclusion of that conversation was, but it was something like,
that was the hardest part of the whole book. That was a slog to get through. That
I don't think those conversations concluded.
I was glazing over. Yeah, that was rough.
I think it ended with, it turns out Earth is God already because you've created it is a creator or something like that. And I was like, okay, I followed a third of that. So but
at the end of the day, it comes down to a definition of God, and at what point do you kind of reach a sufficient threshold?
Yeah.
And where I'm going, where I think ultimately the story might go, and obviously I haven't read the later stuff, but any being that is created in the future but then operates going backwards in time has the potential agency to be a cause of the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Once the universe gets down to Planck density. Because the whole thing about cosmology is at the point of Planck density, none of the math makes any fucking sense because it goes asymptotic. We don't know what happens prior to that.
Right.
So whether or not it was natural or spontaneous or whatnot, but from a causal point of view, if what happened before the Big Bang, and I've heard several arguments basically saying, well, that's kind of asking what's north of the North Pole, because if there's no space, if you're at a singularity, there's no space time, and therefore there's no time. So asking what's before the Big Bang is kind of like asking what's north of the North Pole. as one potential answer.
Clouds.
But huh? Okay.
Santa's workshop. Come on, this is easy.
No. All I'm saying is if you were to create something in the future that had godlike powers, but then operated like tachyons, theoretical time traveling backwards particles, then eventually in that being's far future, it would be at our creation.
Yeah.
And could they be responsible for it? And I think from a sci-fi perspective, this is a very fascinating avenue to discover. So I kind of hope he goes here. And yeah.
Bryce, had you read all four books? No, you just read the first two.
Into the rest of them.
Did you read those, Jake?
No, I just read the 2.
Okay.
But I did see the Animatrix.
It's good. I like that one.
Oh, that got me.
Sorry, did I steal my ideas from some anime show?
No.
Okay,
no.
okay.
He's just being
I'm just
silly.
being a troll. I'm just a silly Billy. We start talking about tachyons, I start thinking of something stupid to say.
I know what a tachyon is. I'm well read.
You guys watch Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of
but
it.
Star Trek is not exactly what we would call hard science.
No, that's true. And so I picked up Hyperion back in the day because I was told it was hard science fiction. And I thought like it's on the borderline because at the end of the day, you can't really use black holes to teleport to places.
Right.
I've seen Interstellar. So.
Yeah, there's bookshelves in the middle of those black holes, baby.
I've seen The Black Hole.
That was animated, wasn't it? That was an
Disney
old movie called
that
The
was
Black
Disney, but it wasn't animated.
Oh,
you gaze too long into the abyss, and the abyss will stare into you.
Yeah,
just telling you.
I liked.
We're not talking about the Shrike.
No. Stop looking into my abyss.
I liked the book. I thought it was a lot of fun. A little bit pretentious. Most of the time, it was bearable. Sometimes it was a little bit too much. But I feel like Dan Simmons earned the right to be like he's so smart. It's like, okay, you can be a little bit too pretentious for my taste, you know. Like it sounds like you know what you're talking about, so I'll just go with it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know enough about Keats to be able to correct you. Okay?
But there's also enough meat and potatoes there that it was a very enjoyable read for me, and it does feel like a good stopping point. I will definitely read the other two eventually, but I feel like I need a long break after this one. It was.
See, that's what I did. That's what
very
I did.
heavy.
Now it's been 10 years.
Yeah, it's very heavy. It's a brain teaser. But it was fun. Sorry, I'm trying to think if there's. I mean, there's a lot we haven't discussed, because so much happens in this book. But was there anything specifically you guys wanted to bring up?
I think I'm fine because I got to put in all my cool sciencey stuff.
Yeah,
and kind of what I liked
it was
about
good.
it. So
I liked Nita Gladstone's assistant that gets stranded on Earth with John Keats. He was a funny guy when he was complaining. That was fun.
Yeah. Leah, was it Leah or something?
Leigh Hunt.
Yeah, something like that.
I feel like there wasn't enough Silenus. He might have been my favorite in the first book.
Yep.
And
so
Leigh Hunt would have been funnier if his first name was Mike. I'm just saying.
Yeah, some of the characters get kind of dropped. Martin Silenus gets stuck in the pain tree.
Father Hoyt is just murdered.
Yeah, but then he gets reincarnated into the
as somebody else.
Old guy.
Yeah, who turns into the Pope.
Yeah, he turns into the Pope.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, come on, in this universe, that's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bron Lamia gets strung up for most of the book, but she has a lot to do.
Yeah, you're right. She was kind of plugged into a tentacle for most of the book.
When I first started
in the Matrix.
Yeah, when I first started, I was a little bit disappointed because the first book ended and it was like building up to this. Hey, we're all gonna jump into the fire together, and we're gonna start answering questions. And then this book started and was like, actually, we're not gonna do that. We're all gonna separate and do a whole bunch of different things. And we're going to go back to that one place where we were before we go forward. And so it was like, once they got there, I felt like it was odd that they weren't trying to find answers. Like, instead of confronting the Shrike, which was kind of like, I thought was the point of it.
They didn't even bring enough food.
They were all too afraid. They're like, I guess, I don't know. You go talk to the Shrike first, But as time went on, like, I started realizing what the book was trying to do, and like the pieces started falling together, and I ended up really, really enjoying it. So, I forget what happens with the consul. He flies off, crash lands, gets
he goes
kidnapped.
on his magic carpet ride.
Crashes his carpet.
He gets kidnapped, but then he gets saved by his old friend. But I forgot what they did after that.
Oh God! So this is
I hated that part. Go ahead.
I don't like, but basically it feels to me when they say he needs to go use his diplomacy skills with the ousters to like diplome them. I got Team America vibes where he's Gary, and it's like, Gary, you're an actor. Act, damn it, act.
Yeah. And he played the piano for them instead. So
did he? Okay.
Yeah, he shows up and plays a concerto or something like that.
And they're
that would do it.
That part was so cringy, because to me at least, because they're like, your punishment for betraying us and murdering those men is
to live.
You have to live. Hey guys, that's not a punishment.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
You guys are bad at this.
At least put him on the tree or something. I mean,
put him on the tree of woe. It's a different reference.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? From handsome to handsomer? Is that what you guys mean?
Here's the thing: is it before and after of like a medication that like made you more healthy, or before and after of like doing meth?
Simmered.
See, I don't know what Mark's trying to imply here.
I think it's trying to hurt my feelings somehow, but I don't understand it, Mark. Try harder.
Well, wait. Who's the before and who's the after?
Well, again, it would depend on if it's a positive or a negative, right?
Well, no, not necessarily, because it's like on one side you're saying someone took meth, but the other way would be like, well, someone started working out, got some Rogaine.
Lost some hair, maybe.
Ozempic. Then we're on pharmaceutical meth.
Sky Rizzy. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Jake doesn't get to dress up.
Hey, I do whatever I want. Although I just checked it is ironic. I just checked my analytics. I was on another stream with some friends, and since I started becoming my wife in some of my skits, my female viewership has dropped down to absolute zero.
That's insulting.
I think last I checked out like 30%. It wasn't too bad.
That's good.
That's better than
I haven't looked at a long time.
I was at a strong 2, and then it just. Sorry, ladies. The guys like it though.
This is a silly place.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why anyone would think to take you seriously, Pulp Mortem.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did we talk about that on stream, or we talked about that before we started?
Before, yeah.
Okay, so no one knows what I'm talking about. I somehow missed it when you released it, so I just barely watched your 3-month-old video where he was talking about he was going to quit YouTube because someone
left me a bad comment, or a negative comment.
Sorry.
I just can't take you seriously. Yeah, go watch the video.
Yeah. So this is fun. This one's a lot. This book's a lot harder to talk about than the first
Yeah.
one, right? There's a lot of guesswork to do in this one, and I guess the only other like speculation you could do is like, oh, what are the next books going to be about? What's
And I
what's
think
the future of right?
as I understand
Is
it, they're,
Dane
like,
right? Are
really-
we gonna get a god that goes back in time or something?
right. I mean, it could be. I think the next ones though, it's like way in the future or something. Like it's
Yeah,
or the past. I don't know. I mean,
I think
whatever
that's
that means.
I assume that's what Indidimon is that it's like the utopian city that they were sending Rachel off into, or something like that.
But the cover has more Shrike, so that's good.
Yeah, well, the Shrike
Maybe
are
it's
like
1,000 of them.
eternal, and because what's his face beat them, now they serve the humans or something like that. It was the war to end all wars.
But I
That's
didn't
kinda
really
fun.
even get like I even like was looking it up and I'm like it's like and then they beat the Shrike somehow through an unknown power, as I'm quoting.
Yeah, it like shattered or whatever.
Yeah, and so it's true. Like, because I remember being like, I think I
Okay.
don't know what happened here.
Well, there were two. There was the one that Bron Lamia that penetrates and explodes, and then there were the 1,000 Shrike that Kassad was fighting. But
I thought
I
he
don't
was
remember
just
those
fighting
exploding.
one, and the rest of them were just like, yeah, in the background,
They went like
Nice.
one
like
at
in
a
a
time.
fist fight.
it was at first he was fighting one, and they were teleporting all throughout time, and then he ended up in the future, and then he fought 1,000 of them alongside a whole bunch of humans and ousters of all different shapes and colors and creeds and races and sexualities.
Yeah.
So, see, Dan Simmons was
And
woke.
coexist stickers.
Yeah, see, he was
Dan
more
Simmons was
progressive
woke.
than most progressives. So
What?
he was all about inclusion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They were all gonna die.
Oh, I've dropped significantly.
Equally.
I'm at 3% female.
Hey,
Welcome to
That's-
the club.
See, last time I
Is
looked
that
was when I was still. That was a while ago when
you need to talk about Wheel of Time more. That's the problem.
when I was talking. Yeah, when I was more Wheel of Time centered, and when I hadn't started making fun of the show. So
Oh, that would do it.
yeah, it did. I lost a couple hundred subscribers.
okay. For the next one, let's all just read A Court of Roses and Thorns or whatever.
Let's do it.
And then we'll all like
Guitar.
the female. Our viewership will
actually
go
just-
up. Welcome back, ladies. We're talking about dragon porn. Or
I
whatever
was
it
looking
is.
it up on Audible on the catalog. If you have the subscription, it's free on the subscription. Like
Dragon porn.
The Court of
Guitar.
Roses and Thorns. It's the most sensuous of all romance fantasies.
50 Shades of
What the-
Chainmail or whatever it says it is.
Wait,
I don't know.
I lost in fantasy football, and that was my challenge. It was with booktubers.
I don't know anything about it other
Not one
than
of those, but it
a
was-
bunch of
you lost to fantasy football, and now you have to read romantasy.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh fuck! I don't like. From
It was
what
a
I
pretty good-
understand,
it was like hats off to you for that terrible punishment.
you guys want to know something? Like, what's kind of fucked up? Like,
Yeah.
all right. So I got the Everyman's Library set. I got like 150 books. Like, they're all classics. But there's like 3 or 4 female authors in this whole fucking list. Like, they don't write good books. Like, widely accepted. Like, there's Jane Austen. There's the Bronte sisters. I mean, I got Patricia Highsmith. Who else
Mary
I got
Shelley.
from that?
Mary
Mary
Shelley.
Shelley. Yeah,
She
But,
started
like,
something. What'd she start?
science
Science
fiction.
fiction. That's it.
Oh yeah, that's right. But she's on there. I've got forget who it is, but it's like it's a historical fiction about like Theseus and the Minotaur and whatnot. That's kind of like the extent. And nowadays, publishing is like 80% female.
it's all female.
because they've taken over the entire publishing industry. They've taken over all of our genres.
Which is why I always question when people are like, "There's not as many females in science fiction as like males," and I'm like, I don't think females are hurting for publishing in general.
Yeah,
no, they're not. And what they generate is just fucking crap.
I think what they're complaining is that no one's reading it.
Well, yeah, they're giving it prizes and it sucks. Like the Hugo and the Nebula used to be the way to find books like Hyperion. Yeah. And like you go back to it, and you have to read these books because they're all freaking amazing. And then about like 15 years ago, there was a big switch. And now it's like anything that gets nominated for either of those two, that's what you got to avoid.
Now you're talking sad puppies. Did you hear about that? The Larry Correa and all that.
But like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
And romantic, like the romance genre, it's fucking huge, and like
it went
bigger than
with 50 Shades. Because it's always been there, but it's always been
hardcore. Yeah, it went hardcore, but like the romance of like the Fabio type on the front cover, and he happens to be a whaler in Nantucket set in like 17 who the fuck knows, like that's kind of what they wrote from themselves, and now it's permeating everything. I've got a big problem with romantasy because they're trying to take essentially my favorite genre of fantasy, and lesser extent I guess science fiction, and basically meshing the two, and it sucks. I don't like it.
And
I think it's fine if people want to read it, but don't get mad when we don't.
It's changed now to the point where they're fucking gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Where it's basically you can't get a new sci-fi or fantasy published by any author.
I've found traditional publishing is just rough anyway. I'm liking this whole resurgence of independent publishing. It's really fun.
But it's honestly 90% of the time self-publishing is the way to go now. Like you're going to make more money that way.
You can, but the downside of it is
you have to have some kind of platform. You have to be able to promote yourself. Yeah.
No, it's the refinement. So at least in traditional publishing, the author, it's going to be a more polished, finished product.
Yeah.
Going through the multiple layers of editing. So I don't know.
All I know, I've been. I had Dungeon Crawler Carl forced upon me, and it's better than.
So much fun.
A lot of the books that I've read from, like it's incredible. I can't wait to. I have to wait to start book 5 because I haven't done the book 4 stream yet, and I'm trying to get that scheduled this week. But even then, like the audiobook quality is better than these publishers too, right? Because you can try new things. You can do crazy things like. Is it Jeff Hayes who's doing the audiobooks for them? He's insane, and I'm going to meet him. I'm going to meet Matt Dinneman at Dragonsteel.
Yes,
looking forward to it. But yeah, you're
Anyways,
right. You'd have to do a good job. You're right. The editing process is going to be a lot harder to do by yourself, and you have to be able to promote it. But
you can't do the editing process by yourself. You have to bring outside help in. There's no. You can stare at your own words on a page until your eyes glaze over or you go blind. You're not going to catch it.
But there's a lot of good like editors that and they don't like. It's a reasonable price that you can even get a pretty decent editor, to look over your independently published book. But you do have to go through that, absolutely. But that's the beauty of why you need BookTube and Goodreads and all that stuff. So because you can find them the same way as tradition.
You have to have the confidence in what you're producing in order to make that investment, and then hopefully then it's like it's completely justifiable that you reap more of the rewards, right?
Absolutely.
So you sell ebooks and you make pure margin on that, rather than the 30% or 15% author royalty that you get off the traditional hardcover paperback model. But
Michael J. Sullivan got pretty popular independently publishing, got a traditional publishing contract, and then went back to independently publishing because he makes way more money that way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, I just lament for the state of publishing, because the thing, hopefully your guys' election last week or whatever. It signals like a sea change in how everything's been going. But I saw this YouTube video. Forget the name of it, but he was laying out the publishing statistics, and it's like, all right, some of these prizes, like the Booker Prize and whatnot, were set up because there weren't enough women in getting recognized for stuff. And now if they're in a dominant position and they're in a gatekeeping position and a control position, and like we all see it. When was the last time we decided to pick up a new freaking book in our favorite genres expecting it to be any good?
I haven't
20 years ago.
I'm not reading new books. I'm reading Hyperion. I'm reading The Wheel of Time and Dungeon Crawler Carl. Okay, so
it's a self-published one, but all right. You go to a bookstore, you go to a Barnes and Nobles, or up here in Canada, we got Coles and Indigo. It's the same company, but what? And you go like new releases in your favorite sections, and just like looks like dog shit.
I research too much, so I'm like, because I don't want to have to DNF stuff. If I can avoid it, I want to enjoy. I want my reading time to be good. So yeah.
For new stuff, I just listen to Bryce.
And I go,
I used to get recommendations from a certain YouTuber who will remain unnamed.
Oh, is it Daniel Green?
Oh,
the red one.
Yeah, that one. And then he told all Christians to go screw themselves. So I unsubscribed.
Sounds like a good move.
Yeah, he's the reason I read Wheel of Time. Like and he's the reason I read Gunmetal Gods as well.
Oh, okay.
And I love that series. But yeah, I think the next one, I can't remember if it was Bryce or Jake who recommended Heroes Die. Was you? I got it. I'm planning on reading that one if we want to do that one next.
Yes. It's so good.
But
a lot of testosterone, though. You've been warned.
Testosterone. I'm reading Dungeon Crawler Carl.
You're good.
But yeah, I want to do a book club on that. That would be fun. How many of the Dungeon Carl books have you read? 2?
I got 2 under my belt. They're so good.
Yeah, we're coming up on this week. I don't know when. Probably this weekend we'll do book 4.
Oh, awesome.
And I think it's my turn to host. We've been bouncing around channels. So
good.
That's coming next. And of course, I'm also doing Wheel of Time with Nerdporial. You're doing that too, Dane. With Lord of Chaos. Well, I finished all my other books, so I need something else to start now.
I have something.
Well, I have a whole list of things I can choose from. I just need to make that choice.
Drood. Read Drood.
Drood. Well, do we want to do more Dan Simmons, or do we want to do Heroes Die?
Like Ilium.
The Ilium. Let's read. Yeah. I do want to read Drood eventually. Should I do that first, or what?
How about this? Why don't you read Heart of Darkness?
Conrad?
Go for a classic.
Yeah. It's not very long. It's just gonna kick the shit out of you.
That was Apocalypse Now, right?
That's the inspiration for it.
Yeah,
Conrad is
fucking
amazing.
If I want to cry myself to sleep, though, I'll just read the next Joe Abercrombie book.
That'll do.
But yeah.
Wait, Daniel Green's hair sure is getting really tall, isn't it? It just keeps going and going. What are you doing, buddy? He's making fun of everybody's bookshelves. Look at his hair. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Heart of Darkness. Conrad. So freaking
food.
Nice.
All right. I should.
But it's so good. Conrad's use of language, I think, is still a gold standard, and it was his third language.
What was he native in?
He was Polish, so he did Polish, German,
Witcher.
and then
He's
English
actually
was
the
his
one who
third
wrote The
language.
Witcher.
Okay, all right. I'll read Heart of Darkness.
No, he wasn't.
I'll read Heart of Darkness, and we can have a fun intellectual book club stream with Dane, and I'll also read Heroes Die, and we can have a fun stream with Bryce.
Nice.
And we'll
And
do
then I'll
just
read
that.
Druid.
No. Before that, we're going to do a react video, and we're just going to watch a couple Daniel Green videos. And we're just going to do some live reacts.
Oh, good God.
I got so much hate last time.
Look at
on
these
my
bookshelves. Too many trinkets.
He brought someone on that was like critical of his books, and like he had him on as like in the latest thing. I was like, that's that takes some humility to do,
What, Daniel Green?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote books?
Yeah.
Oh.
I
Does anyone read them?
I got a lot of his.
We should read them.
No, I did. I did.
Okay.
I have to.
Let's do it.
I have his first 2 books actually. I haven't read the second one.
I enjoyed the first one.
First one was good, and that's why I bought the second one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
But that
And I
would
don't-
mean spending him money.
But I don't want to. He stopped writing those. He stopped writing those ones, and he switched to the others. The not steampunk.
Cyberpunk.
The cyberpunk series, and his entire advertising for it was, I wanted to write this series because I wanted to have a series that included casual sex with friends.
Say what?
He's like, every book that I read, it never has people just having casual sex, and so I wanted to write a book about that. And it's a cyberpunk.
Time before something comes out.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
That's literally how he advertised that book.
What's the plot about?
Apparently there's a sexy cyberpunk lady on the cover, and there's ghosts or something.
I don't know.
This sounds like the dumbest fucking story I've ever heard of.
Let's review it.
All right. Okay.
You're insane. You are on something tonight, and I like it. But
I'm
It
on
could
those
be fun.
Olympic, baby.
I'd be down for it. I'm just the only reservation I'm having is probably paying for the ebook because I
let's
know that's
steal it.
there are ways
Well,
around
no,
that.
you shouldn't. But
No, don't do
All
that.
right.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to read that.
the best way to look at it is kind of like
Bonesetters again.
if you spend the money in order to discourage 1,000 other people from not spending the money, then at the end of the day, you've taken money from them. That's the way. Just like every single reviewer out there who bought a copy of Dragon Age Veilguard and then is playing it for everyone and showing the cutscenes where it's like, oh, I'm non-binary and all that other, and basically that BioWare and like they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars on this fucking game. That's a public service, so you can't fault like streamers basically being like, "Oh, you're supporting them." It's like, no, I'm not, because like I played the game, so you didn't have to, and I have 5,000 people watching me play it every fucking day.
I was just barely looking at screenshots from that game on Sunday on my other show. And I kid you not, one of the plot points in that show is the Thieves Guild don't like stealing.
Yeah.
It's literally, I kid you not, they don't steal artifacts because they don't want to take things from cultures that have been walked out. It's like marginalized. Yeah. Huh?
I think they have the Indiana Jones mentality.
No, but it's worse than that. It's bad.
Okay.
It was really bad. So, okay,
It's
I've
just
got
the least of the sins. Veilguards.
okay. Heart of Darkness is only a couple hours.
Best timeline.
I could do that real fast. I'll read Heart of Darkness.
No, you can't.
What?
Now, even though it's only 50,000 words, it'll take you a while to get through it.
I'm gonna do it in an afternoon. Okay.
Challenge accepted.
I'm a sadist. Okay.
Don't do it.
No, I'm a masochist. That's the one.
That's the one.
I'm also a sadist.
I'm gonna make Jake read it, and then I'll watch him.
I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna watch Jake read it.
I'll do it. I don't care.
Okay, the point of the story is, what are we doing next on book club?
I like joking about what we're gonna read next. It's much better.
Alan, if you do end up reading Heart of Darkness,
I will.
Go watch Apocalypse Now afterwards.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Apocalypse Now?
It's been on my list of things that I know I need to watch eventually, and I haven't done it yet. Yeah.
Read the book first,
okay,
and then they're very unrelated because they're completely different settings. But as far as like how an adaptation can work and work well, I think that's a gold standard.
Cool.
Heart of Darkness and Apocalypse Now.
I've seen Full Metal Jacket.
That's fucked up. Vietnam. Yeah. No.
It was like
It's okay.
what I did though, I watched Full Metal Jacket and then I watched The Greatest Beer Run Ever, like back to back, and it was actually pretty fun.
Helps you sleep after.
Let's see. We're booktubers, Dane. We don't read books. Oh, you fucking okay. You listen to them. What? All right.
Oh, Mark loves Heart of Darkness but hates Apocalypse Now. So that's interesting.
It depends what director's cut you get.
Oh yeah, what version are you supposed to watch?
Get like the ultimate version, but
the long one,
extended and all the edition. Yeah.
The Snyder cut.
Just go through the more pain.
No.
Oh,
if there's ever a Snyder cut, don't watch it.
I tried. I tried watching Rebel Moon extended.
I haven't even tried. I've been like, I should try that, and then it doesn't even.
I was really sick. I was really sick, and I hadn't gotten off the couch in like a day. And I put that on. I put that on. I felt better. I immediately got up.
I had all these
300, and then after 300, I was like, okay, so Zack Snyder could make a movie that looks exactly like a comic book.
Yeah.
And then Watchmen, I'm like, okay, he could do a second movie that's exactly like a comic book, but he changed really the ending.
I think he's an amazing cinematographer, and he should never be allowed to touch a pen.
Right.
Okay.
Or being
that's what I'm guessing, because then I saw his freaking superhero movies, the like Superman one or Batman, whatever, Batman versus. Yeah. I was just like, this is fucking stupid.
You guys didn't like Sucker Punch?
No.
He can make some really, really great imagery though. Like even from his superhero movies, like some of the shots are like, heck yeah, like Aquaman jumping into the ocean, and there's some slow-mo shots where you just like you start feeling it, and then the writing is just okay. He needs to make other people's movies.
He doesn't understand why people like the things that he will then take them, which is why Star Wars rejected him, I'm sure, but which they have their own issues that I have with them.
You know what? In all honesty,
Star Wars was hilarious.
Not doing a Star Wars movie at this point is probably a career plus.
Honestly, the octopus sex was the least offensive part of Rebel Moon.
Wait, what?
He has sex with an octopus alien. It's fun.
All right, I think this stream has gone on too long. Quite honestly, like that.
Hey,
we're going on to like
could be the
tentacle number 8 at this point.
We'll see.
We're all gonna tie it back into Hyperion. We're all gonna tie it back in.
Well, just like you don't have sex with octopus aliens, and don't have sex with Moneta when she's actually a Shrike. There we go. Full circle. I really like this book. I'd give it like a 9, maybe 9 or an 8 out of 10. I don't know. I think I'd have to sit on it. But I loved Hyperion. I liked this one. And I will definitely read the other two, just not yet.
Need some space.
I need some space. I need some more dungeons and some more Carls.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys have stuff to plug?
Yeah.
So,
how's your book coming, Dane?
I'm gonna send you the first little bit,
Yeah.
just so you and your wife.
Yeah,
can
my
read
wife
it.
said she wants to read it, and then she'll decide if she wants to edit it.
So, but otherwise, you were on a rewatch with us.
Yeah.
And none of those have been fucking posted on YouTube yet because it's all in Pips's hands, and he's off in Iraq now.
Yeah, he's in the
flying
Ukraine.
helicopter. Oh, is he?
No, I don't know where he is. I just said a
think he's
random
in-
place.
I think he's in. I think he's in like a sandy place.
I think
'Cause
we're
if he
not
was in
allowed to
Ukraine-
say where he is so that
We're
he doesn't
not,
get shot down,
but-
right?
But that guy's so good at flying, he's not going to get shot down. But he can't drink
Yeah.
on our rewatches because he's in a dry country. So it's
I wonder what that's like.
the opposite of Ukraine. That's what that's like. Fucking hell. So plus, technically speaking, you Americans aren't operating in Ukraine. You're just like paying for all of it. But anyways, the reason why none of our rewatches are up yet is because it's like on his to-do pile, which is like fucking up to here. And I'm being like, what do you need to fix? Like, you were on one, Alan, right? It was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Like, there was no editing needed. We could just like put it out there. It's a word diarrhea, but it's entertaining. And we had one the other day, and what we realized, you're gonna love this. Rand is a serial killer.
Yeah.
We stumbled upon that because he killed the male nurse.
That's my
in the show?
biggest problem with season 2.
And how did he know that he would get like the assignment afterwards? He couldn't have known that. So he must have been trying it for months, just killing random nurses who were assigned to Logain
Until he gets the
job.
shift that he wants.
Exactly. That's what happened. So he must have killed, at least a dozen male nurses.
See, now everyone's trying to figure out where Dane lives. It's probably Canada.
Yeah, I am Canadian.
He takes a great pride in not being an American.
I honestly really don't. As of last week, I really, really don't.
Yeah, when are you guys gonna elect Pierre as your prime minister instead of
That's the next one on the list.
Man, I could watch him eat an apple for 10 hours on loop.
No, it's good, but at the end of the day, it's like
you gotta watch the apple clip, okay?
I have seen the apple clip.
No, I'm telling you
exactly
Jake doesn't know what we're talking about.
I've seen him kind of crush Trudeau in like a debate, and I was like,
just Google him and then apple, and it's good.
It's just destroying a journalist, being like, "Oh, is that what I should believe?"
He's just eating an apple.
Yeah. That's well done. But
was he in blackface?
I pictured Denethor eating the cherries, tomatoes.
Yeah.
Okay, that could work. But the thing is, Trudeau is basically a renter who's destroying the property on the way out. Like, he knows he's getting evicted, so he's basically just shitting on all the furniture. That's basically who our government is now, and probably going to do that for the next 2 years.
I saw a graph that had Canada and the U.S.'s GDP they were together, and then Trudeau got in, and then it
it's a slight misnomer.
I saw that graph today on X2, yeah.
Because the biggest delta that happens there is so Trudeau only came in at the end of 15, so his policies wouldn't have actually been affecting until 16. I hate to fucking defend this guy, but this is ultimately what happened.
I love that we're getting political.
No. So the split happened earlier.
It happens on all my streams, and it's never my fault.
Listen, honestly, the internet doesn't have enough of that.
No, but the split happened because of the oil price that fell off a cliff in 2014, which is why the Canadian 2015 GDP went down. It was nothing to do with Trudeau. So that creates the first split. And then by and large, the reason why the delta is so big now is because we've imported fucking like 2 million Ukrainians and another like 1.5 million from somewhere else. And like, that doesn't sound like a lot to you guys, but we were only a country of like 35 million people. Yeah. So we're adding like 3% to our population every fucking year. And you only have so much GDP. And when you split it among a bigger denominator, you don't grow on a per capita basis. Mm-hmm. That's what's fucking happened. And it doesn't help that he's basically his one mission is to destroy our oil and gas industry, and he pats himself in the back for doing it. So
He wears orange.
no,
Yeah. Well, I've been saying for years, there aren't any YouTube channels out there that offer books, quantum physics, and politics. So we're really filling in that niche.
that's my
There's
fault.
there's an audience out there.
Yeah, but it's only 3% female.
Good.
It stings. It stings a little bit. Mark Clark, thank you so
I'm
much for
down
the
to
$1.99. Don't get me talking about League of Legends. I'm sorry. We're covering Arcane. Okay, we're
Season
watching
2.
Arcane, and so God forbid I explained some of the lore behind it. I'm sorry, Mark, that I was addicted to League of Legends for years.
Are you liking season 2?
I liked the first episode. I have some problems with it, but I enjoyed this first part.
I had no problems with anything in season 1. I had problems with.
Yeah, it was the lesbians, right?
No, it was. I'm gonna go pass out in the fucking alley here, and oh my god, I wake up next to my squad.
Yeah, there's a little bit of finicking. I hope
I think Mark Clark's saying we've been on an outro for 40 minutes. Is that it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, cool.
So, oh no, I probably talked about League of Legends for 40 minutes. That's what it is. But you brought it up, so it's your fault.
Everything's my fault.
He
All right,
wanted it.
Bryce, you got anything to plug?
I just self-centered.
Yeah.
Reading books, reviewing them, news sometimes.
Okay. It's a good channel. He's a funny guy.
Thank you.
He's a lawyer, I think. And
Don't hold it against me.
he reads books. So, what about you, Jake?
I'm Jake from Pulp Mortem. I review old vintage science fiction, trying to find a lost classic. Found some good stuff, found mostly garbage. That's okay. It's fun too. I usually do one review a week, and we also have the elusive exclusive book club, which is with me, Tim from Secret Fire Books, and Nick over at the Book Graveyard. And we'll usually bring on a guest. Bryce has been on before. We'll bring on different guests.
Oh.
And we are actually tomorrow at what time is it, Tim? Tim's in the chat. What time is it, Tim? Because I can't remember what time it is tomorrow. But tomorrow we are reviewing and talking about Focus 9 Princes in Amber by Roger Zelazny. It's not
That's
Focus.
a good one. That's a good one.
So yeah, we're going to be discussing that 7:30 p.m. Is that my time or your time? Yeah, I should have been ready for this. Anyway, tomorrow evening, we'll be there on the
time zone.
Now we're saying 5:30. Oh gosh, I don't know. Anyway, it'll be on Secret Fire Books channel. Look at Secret Fire Books.
Yeah,
you see us there. It's always a lot of fun. We screw around way more than in these group than I do here too. So no, they're a lot of fun.
You're being tamed tonight?
I'm being tamed. I'm trying to be intellectual tonight. We're talking about neutrons and thadons and the Big Bang and Trudeau and 5:30 Eastern Standard Time.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I got. Come watch me act like an idiot on my show. And
sounds like fun. All right, yeah, this has been Book Club. We do more of this. If you guys want to force me to read a book, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to tell you what to read, and you're going to do it because you like it.
And then we're gonna talk about it.
Such a good thing.
Say it sexier.
It's been in my head the whole time.
Oh yeah, it's you know what it's inspired by, right?
That is baby making music.
Look, you've all heard "Never Never Gonna Give You Up," right?
I was thinking more push it.
No, you got to listen to Never Gonna Give You Up.
I'm clipping that, Bryce.
Fucking Rickroll?
No, it's not.
Rickroll.
No, there's an extra.
Whole time?
No, there's an
You're
extra
a
never
gift now.
Okay. It's not Rick Astley. It's Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh.
It was in Baby Driver.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And the entire first half of that song is just moaning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do that. It's Barry White. Barry White, that's who it is. It's a great song, but it's so awkward because it just starts off with just these, you know it, baby.
Which only he can do. That,
Keep on doing it. Oh, you know, like it's fantastic.
And then all the snakes show up from Whacking Day. That's Barry White.
So
right?
naturally, I thought books, Barry White. There you go. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Apparently, we're not going to decide on the stream, but we'll be reading something.
Are we doing Heart of Darkness? Is that what
well, you guys are doing it too? Okay, we're doing Heart of Darkness.
I'm in.
Heart of Darkness.
All right. We'll see you in 3 hours when we're done reading that.
No, you won't.
It's a 3-hour audiobook.
It's going to take you longer.
Nah, I'm a man. I'm a man.
I
I didn't cry in Titanic. Okay, thank you very much.
I cried when I was laughing when that guy went bouncing off the propellers.
I thought I was the only one.
All right, thanks guys for doing this. It's always fun. Read more
Always
books.
Pleasure, gentlemen.
Be more cultured, and maybe read a little bit about quantum physics and time and entropy. And
Be more cultured like us.
See, if you got to be more cultured so you can understand the intricacies of
Barry White
of having Shrike sex. So, this book was
does
wild.
Enhance the enjoyment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Depends. I am a masochist. So, we'll see you guys next time.
Good about it.
Full circle, baby. I brought it back. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
There was a weave.
I just happened to stop by for books.
Books. I like books.
Okay, well, let's talk about it.
I can't talk about it with you.
Well, why not?
We already did that.
We just finished.
What happened to then?
We passed that.
When?
Just now. We're at now.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
Oh, how did that go?
Well, we had a really good conversation.
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
You did fine, Todd.
Good.
You can go home now.
This is the end.
That's all she wrote.
I'll never forget you.
I don't even know how to read.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If it's true, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel, and you can join us along for the ride. And if you pay me, I'll try to be more entertaining, so please consider joining Patreon and getting your name in the credits with pride.
I'd buy that for $1.